Hello everyone, welcome to Sports Source, your number one source for sports, and today we're going to be talking about Zion Williamson and if he's overrated or the next LeBron James. But before we do that, smash that like button and subscribe for more NBA news and discussions, and basketball news and discussions. Without further ado, let's begin the video. So we're going to start off with Zion Williamson, our main topic of the video. Is he overrated or is he a bust? I will make compelling arguments from both sides, in non-order. So, we'll start with why. Well, we'll just talk about Zion Williamson. He's an amazing dunker. That's what he's known for. He's a viral YouTube sensation from high school, right? And he was a 5-star recruit, I'm pretty sure, by ESPN, and recruited by Duke. And they have the top 3 prospects in the draft. Duke has always been a good recruiting college. They're one of the top powerhouses in the nation when it comes to colleges. And they snagged R.J. Barrett, Cameron Reddish, and Zion Williamson. But is Zion Williamson a potential superstar or a bust? Now let's look at all the key factors, his strengths and weaknesses. Now his main strength everybody knows about is dunking. And now when people talk about Zion Williamson, they mostly think of him as a primary dunker and finisher. That's all he is. But he actually has more dimension to his game that the highlights and most things don't show. For one, he is a great ball handler. Not a lot of people know that. He used to play point guard in middle school, so that's where he gets some. Well, he's a good ball handler for his size, and he also has pretty decent playmaking, and he's pretty underrated in his passing abilities. We know he's a freak athlete because, his mom and dad were both athletes. He's 6'7". I'm pretty sure he's 295 pounds, listed at Duke, and he's just a beast. He's a tank. He's an actual tank. We haven't really seen a prospect this physically developed at that early of a stage since probably LeBron James. Like, he's a man against boys out there. 295 pounds. If he were in the NBA, he'd be the second heaviest in the league, right next to Boban Marjanovic. So we got those factors. We got that athleticism, finishing at the rim. He's also a versatile finisher at the rim. I'm not sure. I've never really seen him post up or do some post games, but I've seen him, do some crafty finishes at the rim, some left-hand finishes. He's also a great defender. His athleticism has a lot to do with that, but just his defensive IQ in the post is amazing, and he gets lots of blocks because of his vertical. He's got crazy vertical. He gets lots of blocks in the post. He gets that help defense right away. He comes over, and he just blocks the crap out of the opponent. Now let's talk about his 2 main weaknesses. Now, these are big weaknesses. Like, they're not just like these minor things. Like, he has to overcome these if he truly wants to be an NBA star. But I think with his athleticism right now, just what he is right now, he can make the NBA. But if he wants to excel and if he wants to develop into an NBA star, he's going to have to improve on these 2 things. One of them isn't really, you can't really improve. You just got to adapt to it. And the other one you can improve. First one is his jump shot. He shot, I'm pretty sure, 30% from 3 and from high school, which, is pretty not great, but also you got to remember that 3-point line is a lot shorter as well, so how is that going to translate to the NBA? Now, you don't need a 3-point shot to make it to the NBA, but, you got to have something, Like, let's look at, for example, Ben Simmons. He doesn't have a jump shot, and we've seen him average 16 without a jump shot. He's still a premier young player in the league, but if he wants to bring his game to the next step, that's what he's going to really need, because you look at all the great players, a shot is what brings you over the limit. If Ben Simmons had a jump shot, he'd be a really great player. He still is a really good young player, but let's stop comparing these 2. But he needs a jump shot. He needs to work on a jump shot. He also needs to work on being more of a team player. I've seen him run. He's a good general, or he's an all-right general, floor general. But we've seen him do all right at that. We need him to be less selfish and more of a team player. Also work on that playmaking because he could be like a Ben Simmons, I'm kind of comparing him to Ben Simmons because they're both kind of the same. Athletic freaks, can't shoot, and they're both young studs. And then you look at another weakness, which is his size. Now, I know that that's kind of a stupid thing, like, oh, his size is a weakness, and that can't change. Unless he has a major growth spurt, it can't change. He's listed at 6'7" right now. He's at shooting guard height, and he's going to be a power forward. I don't know how it's going to go. With his game, it's not going to translate into the NBA. You see all the power forwards right now, 6'10", 6'11", some 7 foot. Porzingis is 7'3" as a power forward. So, his size, I know he can't change it, but yeah. And he's also really heavy. That could be an advantage, but also could be a disadvantage. He's still already really athletic, even for his size, like his weight. I just don't want him to be too chunky and lose his athleticism, but he's still just a freak athlete. If he played football, he'd probably be a star football player. I mean, basketball, he's still an amazing basketball prospect, but he just keeps slipping. But yeah, those are the two things. His wingspan isn't great, but that vertical gets him those blocks. But those are the only two weaknesses, and they're kind of big weaknesses. But you look at a guy like Draymond Green. I mean, you all think that he's... What is he? I don't even know his size. You think he's 6'7", right? Wrong. There was an interview I saw with Steve Kerr, and he said that Draymond lied about his height. He's not 6'7". He's actually much shorter. Steve Kerr, I'm not quite sure on Steve Kerr's height, but he said that he's the same height, or around the same height as Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr... Sorry, something just knocked over on my shelf. But Steve Kerr was a point guard who played with Michael Jordan. I don't think that Draymond is... I don't know. I just don't think that the size... I mean, the size is a big disadvantage, though. Because, when you get into the NBA, there's all these tall players who can stretch the floor, and he can't do either of that. He can't stretch the floor. He can't do any of that. But here's something... Yeah, Steve Kerr's 6'3", and Draymond's like 6'4", 6'5", reported. That's not confirmed, but it's a rumor, and I'm pretty sure it is factual. But what does Zion need to do? Obviously, he needs to work on a shot. The size thing, that's not going to happen. You can't make... That's not a thing that you could grow. You can adapt to your size. Also, I don't think that he could really play small forward because he doesn't have a jump shot. But you look at a guy like Giannis. Giannis is kind of the same way. He's just a freak athlete who can't really shoot. But the difference between them is Giannis is a floor general as well, just as Giannis. But the difference is Giannis has the height and the better playmaking. Those are the main differences. The playmaking, I mean, when you can't score, you got to generate for your teammates. And Zion, I don't think he's ever going to be an elite playmaker that gets 10 assists a game. I don't think he's ever going to be that level. But if he can improve his playmaking and be more of a team player and unselfish, he can run some plays. He's a good floor general, as I've seen in some clips. But here's a couple things he needs to do at Duke. Coach K is a great defensive coach. He needs to work on his defense. He could be a great lock-up defender because of his tenaciousness, his athleticism, and just his size. Not his height, but his size. He's just a big dude, and he's just a tank. He's like a brick wall. You can't get past him. And he could keep up with you. If you blow by him, then get ready to get blocked, get stuffed. But that's one thing you need to work on. And his draft stock may drop because he's going to be playing with two top prospects. RJ Barrett's supposed to be number 1. I think Cameron Reddish is projected number 2. One of those guys has got to drop. And who's it going to be? I want to see Zion take more of a team role. That's what he needs to do in Duke. He needs to be consistent. He doesn't need to be the star there, because RJ Barrett, I think, will steal the show. But he just needs to show that he can be consistent and a great floor general. And, there's some concerns about him, but he's not a pure dunker like everything says. Because you look at the clips, of course all the clips are going to be of him dunking, because that's his main thing. But if you look closer, I think that you could see that Zion is a great prospect in his making. We've never really seen a prospect like him. There's people where it's like, oh, you're the next Steph Curry, like Trae Young, or oh, you're the next Kevin Durant, or oh, you're the next this. You can't really compare Zion to anybody because we've never seen a prospect just like him. And that's why I think some people are saying he could be a bust early. It's because people are afraid of what they don't know. People are afraid of the unknown. So we don't know how Zion's going to do. We don't know how a player like him is going to do. I mean, I'm not sure about if there's any injury concerns for him yet. If there are injury concerns, that's a big uh-oh. If he gets injured in college, it's done. It's done. He can't be injured. He's got to go through injuries, or he can't be injured, really. He's got to keep his health up, and, it's done for. In conclusion, I think it's too early to call Zion either a bust or a future star. We just got to see what he does in college, and then we can reevaluate him from there. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, like the video, obviously, and subscribe for more NBA news and discussions, and just more videos in general. That's it for me now. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and goodbye.